the liberty-loving kitchen, where the first ingredient is always love. I'm your host, Barrett Patton, along with my faithful co-host and loving father, Patrick Patton.
How y'all doing?
So what are we going to do today, Dad?
Today we are doing a major cheese process, but not processed cheese, but we're processing cheese. If that makes sense.
I think it might a little bit.
A lot of the cheeses, what we're doing here is cheese that we will be melting at some point. So we have about 4 pounds of mozzarella. It's hard to find whole milk mozzarella that's already shredded. So I find that and shred that ourselves. And little known fact is actually all these cheeses you can freeze. So we'll actually freeze a lot of this. Some of this has already been frozen before. I buy it and get ready, and then when I have a bunch of it like I do now, we will we'll grind it all up, not grind it, shred it up, and I'll put it back in the freezer. We also have roughly 6 pounds of Parmesan, and some of y'all may know this. Parmesan, when you buy it in a bottle, it's got up to 8.8%, I believe is the percentage that the USDA allows for it to be cellulose, so which is sawdust. Nothing wrong with cellulose or sawdust, but when I buy cheese, I want cheese and not sawdust. So I take the Parmesan cheese that I buy in wedges, and then I shred it first of all. Then I'll take some of it, then run it back a second time with the blade, and it makes it like a powder, just like you would get, you know, what you would normally see in a bottle from the grocery store. But there's only 3 ingredients to this. It's milk, enzymes, and salt, which is, I think, the only thing you can actually have for it to be actual genuine cheese, for Parmesan cheese anyway. Then we've got, I know this is 5.7 plus this. We've got about 6, a little over 6 pounds of Gouda. When we use our Gouda, that's for our mac and cheese, and occasionally we'll also do potatoes au gratin, and we'll use that in that, but primarily mac and cheese, that's what the Gouda is for. Extra sharp white cheddar, use that for a variety of things. That's actually what I consider my secret ingredient on a lot of things. We'll be making cheese manicotti later, and I put that in my manicotti, I put that in my mac and cheese, I put that in a number of things that you don't expect to see extra sharp white cheddar in, but it really adds a nice touch to it. Then I've just got a regular block of sharp cheddar. Then I've got 8 plus blocks of this Mexican dipping cheese. And what I do with this is only comes in a block form, but we sprinkle it on like tortilla chips. We'll make a quesadilla with it, put it in, just melt it all add quite a bit of milk to it, and we'll just make a cheese dip out of it. But it's like a white cheese dip that, at least in some parts of the country, the Mexican restaurants have. But that's what we typically prefer for all that. But anyway, so we've got 28.77 pounds of cheese that we're going to start processing. And because this is the driest, easiest cheese, less sticky, I guess you'd say, I'm going to start with the Parmesan today and show you what we do. Oh, one other thing I want to mention while we're doing all this, I don't think I mentioned this about freezing it.
I think you did.
I think that was in the first part, but
well,
anyway, you can freeze cheese, which a lot of people don't know. And I've only been doing it myself for a couple of years. I wasn't sure if you could do it, but all this we routinely freeze, and so we're gonna get all this going, and a lot of it will go in the freezer, and it'll last for many months that way. Doesn't typically last that many months here, but it does keep it from going bad. So start with the Parmesan first, and I've got everything mostly unwrapped. Left a couple of them wrapped. just so you can see what we were dealing with if you wanted to. But get these going. I think certainly on the Parmesan, like I said, you can certainly buy Parmesan. It's already made, it's already grated. I don't think it compares in flavoring to this. And then the other ones, other than the cheddar, aren't really available, at least around here, that I've seen in a shredded cheese already. Now, one thing about this, my food processor, you've got to get this in there for a good bit. So here's a pro tip that I do not recommend you try at home. I override the safety feature by sticking my knife down in there, and it will come on without the safety bar in there. And because that's a hard cheese, it will get stuck if you push it down too fast, which I just did. But anyway. And even though this is a 14 cupper, it fills up pretty quick. You can see how it's all shredded. And occasionally I'll keep some in that shredded form. But what I do with most of it is I'll run it back through again with this blade, which will basically turn it into the dust that you're used to. But what I'll probably do is I'll keep some like this and some the other way. This is can be a slow, long process, but you're always free to fast forward. If you do break the rules like I do, you don't want to stick your finger in there. If you're too far in there, you'll become part of the cheese.
And if you want to see us do some cooking with some of this cheese that we're shredding later, be sure to subscribe to our channel and smash that like button and leave us a comment and share this video with anyone you can think of. Because really, who doesn't love cheese?
Oh, we love cheese. I mean, we got nearly 30 pounds right here. Well, like I said, I mean, it's not like we're going to eat all this tonight. Well, this will last us a week or two.
We don't like cheese that much.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is like... So I'm going to run this back through again until it gets stuck in there on the side. Okay, did that again, but that's okay. I'll put that in the in with the with the blade. Anyway, so you can see we've got about pretty good little tub here of shredded Parmesan. Now, I'll show you how to turn it into dust if that's what you like, which is the way you typically get it in a grocery store. Just put this on here. I'll get my bag, I put it in bags to freeze it.
And maybe let us know down in the comments what your favorite type of cheese is.
True. So you see what this looks like, which is how this looked just a second ago. I'm going to pour this into the bag as I do this, but you can see that's just like what would be in your Parmesan bottle you get at the grocery store. So, got that in the bag now, and I'll put that in the refrigerator and some in the freezer, but keep going at it, and I'll fill up, I'll probably split up what we have between 2 bags of this, but it chops it up pretty fine and fairly quickly. Because Parmesan is such a dry cheese, you're able to do this. Wow. The whole fat mozzarella, that really clumps up a lot. And that's why I started with this, because with the dry cheese, it doesn't clump the machine up nearly as much. See, we're getting there. Now, one nice thing about turning it into this powder like this, if you noticed on the block before I cut it up, the ends of the block, they're much drier than the other. So when you chop it up like this, it kind of evens everything out pretty good. Try a little bit more this time. It's starting to swirl now. Now it's getting it all chopped up. And I believe that I usually chop most of it up into this powder, which is just kind of rolling up with regular Parmesan cheese, the way I was used to seeing it. But I think I'm going to keep a little bit more like this. That might be fun to put on with it more shredded, like on pizzas and what have you. So I don't have a bag for that yet, so I'm just going to set this over here. And I will get that shortly. I always squeeze all the air out real good on my cheeses, and then I'll set those over here to the side. I'll leave it there for now. And tell you what, actually I do. I have 2 bags for that, so I'll put the normal shredded stuff in this bag. Like I said, I didn't keep nearly as much of this. You still don't get all the air out of it. All right. I'm going to do the Parmesan or the mozzarella last because, as I was mentioning, that's a pretty wet cheese, so it's much messier. I'm done with this. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the sink. And we'll just be grating now. Now, we like Gouda. And like I said, that's the, this along with
Extra sharp white cheddar.
the extra sharp white cheddar. Man, does that make a nice mac and cheese.
My personal favorite.
And we are going to fix that for you one of these days. On our last video, what was that?
The biscuits.
The biscuit video, yeah. We had that question on there, posed to everybody what they would like to see us make next. So if you have a chance, go back and answer that as to voting for the mac and cheese or voting for the
thin crust pizza dough or cheese manicotti.
or cheese manicotti. Actually, we're doing the cheese manicotti tonight, but that doesn't mean it has to be the next one up. So these are 2-pound blocks. So if I cut that up into quarters, each one's going to be a ½ pound approximately. And what I do with these, I will mix. I do a 50-50 ratio on my mac and cheese. Does that make sense? Maybe not, but
On the cheese mixture for your mac and cheese.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is put these all up into ½ pound portions.
Now what kind of cheese is this again?
Extra sharp white cheddar.
Okay.
But so each one of these, that's 1 pound. Each block was 2 pounds, so half is a pound. That's a pound. And I'm gonna get my scale for the Gouda. And so I've got, that's ½ pound. Now I need a ½ pound of Gouda, which is going to be 8 ounces. Which is that right there. So I will stick this in here and I will shred it all together at the same time. Then I'll put this in a bag by itself, and this is exactly the amount of cheese that I need for a half
Portion of.
yeah, a half recipe. My recipes are big, so the full recipe is, that's pretty good. This is what I need for a half recipe. So sometimes I do that when it's just the 3 or 4 of us here. But I'll put all that in a small freezer bag. And these are both soft cheeses, so they clump together a little bit, but it still melts way better than if you didn't shred it. Zip that up. Push the air out. And there you go. So all I need to do is get that out of the refrigerator or freezer. And we're good to go on a mac and cheese. Now I also, there we go. We'll make a couple for the full servings. Another of the it's not getting there. There we go. There's a half pound and a half pound of extra sharp white. Now on our Gouda also, I don't know if I mentioned this, I get what our store calls the red wax Gouda. It's not smoked. Some people like smoked Gouda. I've tried the smoked Gouda and I prefer just the regular red wax Gouda, so that's what we go with.
And this mac and cheese is probably easily Dad's most popular dish that he makes, most requested.
We entertain a fair bit, and this is usually the most raved about, most requested dish that I make consistently. Pizza's probably next.
Yeah.
Can't really go wrong with either one, but there's another one ready to go. What I recommend, if you don't have a food processor yet, I like this one fine, but I do a lot of bulk stuff like this. So what I would recommend if I was doing this again, and I might do it someday, but they're typically a little more expensive, would get a, I like to have a continuous feed food processor. So you don't have to empty it, it just shoots out the side and you can just keep going as long as you want, as long as you've got something to empty it in. You don't have the container that way, which is nice. So you don't have to keep stopping. But I'm not there yet. We'll do one more of the half bags. And see, that's what I was talking about when I did the, if you notice, I did the Parmesan first. It's a dry cheese, and it didn't gum up the blade so much, or at all really. So you ran out of stuff to say?
I guess so.
Do you not appreciate our audience being here? Watching us do these mundane tasks?
I definitely do appreciate it.
I've been telling him he's going to have to carry the show because any of y'all that know me know that I don't have any personality. I should take that back. I don't have a good personality. I guess I got a personality.
Yeah. I think it's good.
He just agreed with me.
I think it's good.
You see I'm making a mess.
When he wants it to be good.
It's not a choice. Okay, so now we're making full batches, which will be, that's a pound, that's a pound, and I've got 2 of those. And the rest I'll just do separate. So we got a pound, pound.
I'm excited for the next time one of those bags of cheese gets turned into mac and cheese.
I tell you.
It is so good. And if you want to see us make it, subscribe to the channel.
And watch.
Well, that too.
There we go. No, whatever. Perfect. So, need a pound of each. A half pound of that one. Smash some Gouda in there. Smash that Gouda. Gouda's a little soft, and it will gum it up a little bit more than the harder cheese.